vertical milling machine is one of the most versatile machines in the shop. This machine is designed to cut metal and other materials using various types of rotating cutters. The machine is very accurate and can make parts that are within plus or minus 1/1000th of an inch or 0.001 inches. Next, we're going to show you some of the controls and features of these machines. The milling machine is like a big drill press. It has a part that moves up and down that holds the tool. This is called the quill. The quill is locked in position using this lever. Lower the quill, you can push the lever down, it will lock it in place. When you want to move it again, you can unlock it and raise the quill up. The milling machine has a table that moves in two directions. This is your x-axis. This is your y-axis. And your z-axis is controlled by the adjustment of the quill. The milling machine vise is used to secure your work in the machine. The jaws are very smooth so they won't damage your part. Now we're going to put the part in the vise. We're going to use some spacers that are called parallels to hold it at a specific height in the vise. These just go in there like that, and then your part will go on top of them. Tighten the vise up nice and tight, and tap it down with a plastic hammer to make sure that the parallels are seated. Check that the parallels are seated very well. You want to make sure your part is very tight in there, because otherwise it will come out of the machine. You should loosen the vise by tapping it with a dead blow hammer. Then you can take your part out. At the end of each milling cut, you're going to do 4 things. You're going to shut the machine off, stop it with the brake, unlock the quill, and lift it up. This is printed on the machine for reference. This is so you don't accidentally hit the cutter against the part or the vise. Our machines are all equipped with digital readouts so you can position them accurately. The first digit is inches, the second digit is tenths of an inch, the third digit is hundredths of an inch, the fourth digit is thousandths of an inch, and the fifth digit is 10,000ths of an inch. The on-off switch is located on the upper left of the machine. Turn it on, turn it off, and then use the brake lever, which is located underneath the switch, to stop the spindle from spinning. The spindle speed is adjustable on these machines. The spindle must be running to adjust the speed, and then you can turn the handle to turn it up or down to whatever the appropriate speed would be. Your instructor will let you know what that is. The high-low selector lever is on the right side of the machine. Push it to the back for low, bring it to the front for high. Sometimes it sticks. You need to turn the spindle a little bit to pop it into place. The switch position needs to match the position of the lever on the side. High to high, low to low, and center is off. This will make sure that the spindle is turning in the correct clockwise direction. Here are some of the common tools that we use in the milling machine. These are end mills that we use for cutting. These are end mills in a tool holder to fit the machine, a drill chuck, a set of drills, and a face mill. Now we're going to show you how to install and remove tools from the machine. The cutting tools have very sharp corners and edges, so keep your hands away from them. We're just going to hold the holder down at the bottom like that, and we'll keep the sharp edges away from our hand. And you also want to make sure that no part of your hand is on that tapered area right there too. So before you put a tool in, make sure you put a rag underneath so if you drop it, it won't damage the machine or the tool. And you push the tool up in there, turn it around till the pin lines up, and you push your in button to put the tool into the spindle. To remove the tool, make sure your spindle is all the way up and locked. Grab a hold of the holder, push the out button, Do not pull the holder out, just let it come out by itself. When the machine is running, keep your hands outside the safety zone surrounding the cutter. There are many dangerous sharp edges when using a milling machine. Your tools will be sharp, your parts will be sharp, and the chips that you make will also be sharp. Use extreme caution. This is why we always move the vise in the part away from the cutting tool before we do any kind of work on the part. I'll demonstrate with this piece of wood what can happen if you don't do this. Make sure you move the part and the vise a pretty good distance away from the cutting tool so you don't endanger your hands and arms. Now you can clear the chips, measure the part, inspect the part. If you're done with the cutting tool, first thing you want to do is take it out of the machine so you don't endanger yourself. We have plastic safety shields available to keep the chips and cutting fluids contained during machining. Don't allow the milling machine table to become cluttered. If you accidentally leave a rag on there, it can get caught in the machine. The only thing that should be on the milling machine table when you're machining is a chip brush. The milling machine is capable of machining parts out of many different materials. Here are some samples of some of the parts that we've made over the years. You can see that they are machined to very high precision. Some are quite complicated and some are very simple. The maximum vertical depth of cut that you can cut with an end mill will be half of the diameter of the cutter. This is a 1/2 inch or 0.5 diameter cutter, so the depth that you can go to would be 1/4 inch or 0.25. We can move the part against the cutter in two different directions. One way would be called climb milling, where the cutting edge comes over the top end of the part. The other side is called conventional milling, where the cutter digs up from the bottom. This is climb milling. You can see how it's coming in from the front edge of the part. It creates a nice smooth finish. Now this is conventional milling, where it's coming up from the bottom to the edge of the part, and it leaves a much rougher finish. Now that we're done using the mill, we need to clean it up. First thing we'll do is take our parallels out, wipe them down, put them away, and then we're ready to start vacuuming. This is what your machine should look like when it's done. Nice and clean, 0 chips. Now we're going to deburr our parts, which means using a file to remove all the sharp edges left over from machining. We can also use what we call a swivel deburring tool to remove the sharp edges. This has just been an introduction to the milling machine. There's many more safety and operational rules that you would learn as you use the machine. As always, stop and ask for help if you're not sure what to do, and use your common sense. Thanks for watching.